Hey, welcome back to Two Super Guys Trade Stocks. I'm Dylan.
And I'm Vinny. And what is going on, my guys? This week has been wild for us Alibaba shareholders. Not even week. It's been so far this year. Part of it I saw, but part of it I ran into an absolute freaking goddamn buzzsaw. We're going to talk about that at the end of this video. And Dylan's going to look at we're going to look at the charts here first, though.
So, sexy charts. Once again, just don't get your hopes up. I understand this is very good news. We're going to talk about why Alibaba's going crazy, but just remember, we also had some good news here, and blah, 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 right? Now, granted, we did have the 200 moving average support, which you gotta love. That usually means we're gonna be in a confirmed bullish trend. This was the support, and we busted through that pretty heavily. Also, weekly chart. If you remember, this is the 200 weekly moving average where we had this line. Man, I just love these. These are so perfect.
Yeah.
But we bounced off the 200. We shot right through that. So, yay.
Blue sky above. Is that what you're trying to say at this point?
That's what it looks like. I'm trying not to get my hopes up because I got a lot of Baba shares. So,
Yeah. No, I completely get that, man. I mean, it's been a wild ride. Like I thought Alibaba was undervalued, and eventually that would be unlocked. I did not see us moving 47% in a month and a half, though. All right,
yeah. Well,
that's year to date.
this is not sustainable. I'm assuming we're going to have a little bit of a correction and probably use like 105 ish as a base. I mean, I hope
Oh,
we don't. I hope it keeps going up. But I mean, this is like insanely fast. So,
yeah, yeah. Well, things can move pretty fast sometimes, particularly when you go ahead and stand in front of them like a bulldozer.
yeah,
Um,
that's true.
well, that's what I did. We'll talk about that again. Still barely up overall all time, which is kind of crazy to think about when you zoom out in context. That previous chart looks like a real big move up, but we're just above this peak here. We got a lot of room to run up towards like all time highs, which would be absolutely insane. And we're getting tons of news, right? So this is one of the news stories this week that was really driving Alibaba shares. Is that there was an announcement that came out that Xi Jinping is going to meet with a lot of business leaders, including Jack Ma, founder of Alibaba, along with Joe Tsai, who's now the chairman. You know, this really was the kickoff for the crackdown on the internet sector when Jack Ma stepped out of line and Xi Jinping came down on like a hammer on him. And this is one of the first times we're hearing about them actually like meeting in the public arena a little bit. So it's interesting to see that maybe now they've come to terms and we could be on the opposite side where the government will help Alibaba rather than crush them under massive force of fines and levies.
I I don't know. I know the other rumor. I don't know how to interpret this rumor. If this is, I don't even know how to wrap my head around this because I'm assuming they're doing this because they know there's going to be an AI battle about to happen. This guy has
Uh-huh.
publicly said that he doesn't think AI will ever overtake humans. I don't know if they just like let him out of the basement. I don't know what's happening. I don't. Yeah, I don't know how to interpret this one.
Yeah, lots of rumors, man. This is another thing that came out. This is 13F filing weekly, so we're going to do a separate one on Michael Burry. But David Tepper, also like a very prominent value-oriented investor, came out and his kind of China stakes, including Alibaba in particular, was one of his larger acquisitions, if you will, in terms of increasing his share count 18% in the last quarter. This is just funny to me too. This is an AI thing I wanted to call out to you guys. So obviously this article is written by Bazinga by AI, but it says EPS of 1506 per share, beating the estimates of $1.87. That's a complete garbage. That this is a renminbi. So yeah, they didn't blow out earnings to that degree. Right? So
No.
the 700% EPS beat is indeed AI just writing a news article, which is startling to think about. Maybe someone doesn't know this, but who knows? Crazy.
I don't know.
Either
There's
way,
still a
good news.
ton of mistakes.
Yeah. And then this week we actually have some real news regarding Alibaba earnings coming out on this. It was announced on the 6th that it would be coming out on the 20th that we would get the earnings for the most recent quarter, the final quarter of calendar year 2024. Their fiscal year is offset, but we would see what do they do in the fourth calendar quarter of last year. We'd finally find out a little bit about that prior to this massive move in the stock. Mind you, it's been up 47% since then. We haven't even heard about the earnings. Crazy. And then this is another major mover for Alibaba stock this week, right?
This is the big one.
There's this news that we had speculated on this in the prior video that Apple was going to be forced to partner with a local Chinese company for their more, what's what I want to say, demanding AI tasks to bring AI to the smartphone, iPhone in China to compete with Huawei. Huawei. That's the
Yeah.
best my pronunciation attempt is going to get there. But it was announced this week that they had chosen Alibaba as their local partner for this, partnership or this issue going forward. So, that's always fantastic when you hear a company that is the size and profitability and you know panache, if you will, a little bit of an Apple partnering with Alibaba, like in their own right, is a very kind of respectable company. But the behemoths kind of working together should be good things for the shareholders. We would
So
hope.
this is huge, right? So in that video that we did, we showed that
Huawei.
Huawei. Oh gosh, sorry guys. Huawei had like increased. I can't remember. It was market share sales of like 15%. Whatever the number was, Apple's was the
Yeah.
exact opposite in China, right? So they're Huawei was taking stuff directly from Apple. So Apple had to be competitive. I believe Apple had partnered with Baidu like the previous year or something for AI on their phones, but they did not it was not up to Apple standards. So
Hmm.
we were thinking, oh man, this is going to the moon if they choose Alibaba. That was like 2 weeks ago, but then they chose Alibaba. So
Yeah,
sweet.
we were indeed right on that one. So this is where Vinny stood in front of a train. Okay, now I had talked about the fact that I had previously traded covered calls on this over the last couple of years, and it's been pretty good for me overall. It's lowered my cost basis significantly. However, I do want to caution you that I then, got a little greedy. I saw after the presidential election, I didn't see there was a lot of talk about tariffs, but nothing really material happened, and there was not any significant stimulus taking place in the Chinese economy. They had yet to really respond. So I was like, all right, maybe I have opportunity to start doing my covered calls again. And I went ahead and I looked at the chart. Not a chartist, but I did my best. And I was like, 125 seems like a pretty strong level of resistance here. And particularly once I saw that we had kind of rejected off of it, I was like, okay. So I sold the 125 call against my Alibaba shares in my main IRA account. And yeah, this trade has moved against me a fair amount, as you can see right here. I collected like $104 in premium. It would cost me $542 to buy it back. So that hurts just a little bit. I will point out though, if you look up top here, I am actually now green on my Alibaba shares, which is nice. It's finally turn the corner there. Even though I might be forced to sell. This is saying my cost basis is basically $92 a share. I know I saw you kind of leaning in there to take a look at it if that's what you're curious. Yeah.
Yeah. So the exchange of this was really funny. Vinny texted me. He's like, "Hey man, I just sold it." So you guys know I will not do covered calls with Baba. It jumps too much. It's traded like 18 hours a day. I refuse. And he's like, "Hey, I just got 105 premium." I was like, "Oh, that's awesome. When does it expire?" 220. And I was like, "Is that before or after earnings?" He's like, "Right before." I was like,
Right
"Why
after.
would you do
But yeah,
this?"
yeah.
Perfect.
I know.
Oh yeah,
I know.
right
Well,
after. Sorry.
at this point, are the business fundamentals substantially driving it? No, this movement this week or this month and a half has been driven by kind of speculation and rumors, not business fundamentals at this point. So I'm like, is earnings really going to be something that's going to take it to the moon, quote unquote? I was like, nah, probably not. And I saw a little juicy premium there, and I just kind of took it like a goddamn fish taking a piece of bait. Uh, but I did. I'll fully admit it. We called it stupid guys for a reason. I want to remind you of the really stupid trade I made, though. This is kind of in the same vein here. So this is me and Meta. All right, it's actually it's my largest individual stock holding at this point, which is crazy to think about it. But it could have been a much bigger part of my portfolio. So I had acquired 100 shares of Meta total. I didn't go through and calculate my cost basis, but it was a pretty good cost basis. I was buying shares like $100 a share. Okay. And then I was like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and start selling covered calls here. So December 28th, 2022, I sold the 120, like 3 weeks out, got $220 in premium. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be fat. Of course, I immediately got assigned because it ran right through that. So my shares got called away at 125. Meta was actually already at like 148 as of this. If you were curious, I looked it up. So I made a little profit, but nothing substantial. And then like absolute chicken, it took me a couple days to buy back in here. All right, this February 2nd, I bought back in at 184 because I had run that significantly. And I only bought in back 30 shares instead of the 100 I owned previously, although I'm sure I could have made it work. And I did the math today, and it was rather disappointing. I missed out on over $50,000 in gains on this one stupid covered call. So yeah, I did the same mistake again today. It looks like on Alibaba. Although I have a week to rectify it, maybe we'll
Uh,
see.
well, I truly hope Alibaba goes down so that you can
Yeah,
keep your shares and then goes up. Please.
maybe
Why'd you do
we'll
this?
see. I don't know. I just kept thinking as he called me out on it. My response to him in the chat we had was I sent the Ralph Wiggum, "I'm in danger." That's pretty much where I am.
All right. Well, here's to hoping it doesn't move for 5 days. That'd be great.
Yeah,
I truly hope it doesn't. All right,
the
guys.
stock grew 47% in the last 6 weeks.
Perfect. Have a good one.
Catch you next one.